Can you believe this is Shanghai Business District? It's 7:30 p.m. right now, and look, there's nothing on the second floor. Look on the first floor. The key issue here is, do you know where this is? Look across the street. That's Line 1 subway station. This is basically a commercial center right above the subway, and it's deserted. So, you can see how hard it is for physical businesses now. It's 7:30 p.m., the peak time for dinner after work. And just look at this huge commercial center. It's practically empty. The occupancy rate here, I guess, isn't even 30%, with most of the foot traffic concentrated in the children's area on the third floor. The restaurants on the second floor are all empty. That side is empty, and this side is empty too. The physical economy is in a much worse state than you might think. Don't invest in physical businesses unless you have to. The risks are just too high. The current state of physical businesses is truly frightening. In a big city like Shanghai, look at this small pedestrian street. Do you see anyone? It's 7 p.m. right now, and it's as quiet as the countryside. Now you understand how tough it is for physical businesses. This store here, I used to run a tea house here last year, and now has turned into a foot massage shop. I'm not sure why it's closed today. Basically, apart from the pharmacy, the nail salon, the hair salon, and KFC, everything else has changed. And that noodle shop I used to go to, it was still there before I went on my business trip, but it's gone now, and a lot of these stores changed hands every quarter or so. This shows just how tough it is for physical businesses now. China's economy is struggling, and even Shanghai, once a thriving metropolis, has fallen into decline. The once bustling shopping malls are now facing a significant downturn. Some stores have already closed their doors, while others are barely holding on. 10 years ago, Shanghai's Changsha pedestrian street was packed with people. Now, so many shops have closed, making the scene look desolate. After these 3 years of dealing with the pandemic, Shanghai, like the rest of China, has seen its commercial sector take a severe hit. Official data released at the end of July shows that retail sales in Beijing dropped by 6.3% in June. In Shanghai, the financial hub, the consumer index fell even more sharply by 9.4%. There's a clear evidence of a steep decline in consumer spending in China's major cities. Over the past 2 years, Shanghai's department stores have been shutting down one by one. The first to close was Shanghai Landmark Plaza on Nanjing Road in Huangpu District. It was once a benchmark mall on Nanjing Road, but as the lease expired, it officially closed on January 31st, 2023. It seems that even this iconic mall couldn't escape the downturn. Next was the Pacific Department Store in Shujiahui, which closed on July 31st, 2023. It used to be one of the most popular shopping spots in Shanghai, a must-visit in Shujiahui, always crowded and lively. But those days are gone. The third closure was Meilong Town Plaza, one of Shanghai's commercial landmarks, which shut down on August 1st, 2024. Meilong Town Plaza had been in operation for 26 years. Earlier this year, at the end of June, the Isetan department store in Meilong Town also stopped operating. Now the once bright LED screen outside Meilong Town Plaza has been taken down, leaving only the frame. The entrance is dark and empty. Shanghai's industries are in a slump, especially in the high-end office market, where vacancy rates are still high. Many luxurious office buildings may look impressive on the outside, but inside, many offices are empty or shared. It's common to see young people with laptops spending hours at Starbucks or McDonald's, pretending to work. The situation is even worse in the real estate sector. Red Star Macklin, a major player in the home furnishing industry, has declared bankruptcy, owing 32.5 billion yuan. Some shopping malls have even been converted into wholesale markets for agriculture products. This is potentially a chain reaction triggered by the real estate crisis. The current economic depression after the pandemic is something the wealthy residents of Shanghai have never experienced before. As the real estate bubble bursts, Financial risks grow and unemployment rises. More and more Shanghainese are looking for ways to immigrate, whether to study, work, or settle abroad. Recently, people in Shanghai have been lining up early in the morning at the US consulate to get visas. The lines are so long, they form double rows. According to data from Shanghai's Immigration Department, at the beginning of this year, there's a record high of 308,000 people in Shanghai processing exit procedures within a single month. Shanghainese people are known for their sharp observation skills. Despite Shanghai's strong economy and top-notch educational environment, why is there such a massive wave of immigration? Miss Wang from Shanghai is part of the middle class, with personal assets exceeding 10 million yuan. She started a clothing store in Shanghai in 2000, and at its peak, she opened 7 stores in succession. However, with the rise of online shopping, physical clothing stores saw a declining business year by year. Miss Wang gradually closed several stores by 2018 and opened a wellness center in 2019. But with the outbreak of the pandemic, the wellness center continued to suffer losses, accumulating 4 million yuan in losses over 4 years. Recently, she shared her thoughts on immigration with a self-media journalist.
She said that she and her husband are nearing retirement, but the most important thing for them is to provide their daughter with opportunities abroad. They are also thinking about their future grandchildren, hoping they can grow up in a more relaxed educational environment. She really hopes the next generation won't face so much pressure, and she believes that food safety is better overseas than in China.
The third wave of immigration in Shanghai occurred after the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. The last straw that broke the camel's back in Shanghai was the 2.5-month lockdown in 2022. During the lockdown, everyone, from university professors and corporate elites to white-collar workers and affluent housewives, was preoccupied with securing limited food supplies and taking COVID tests every other day. After that, on November 17, 2022, the white paper protest broke out in Urumqi Middle Road in Shanghai. Young people finally voiced political slogans that shocked the Chinese Communist Party's leadership. Down with Xi Jinping, down with the Communist Party. After that, the dynamic zero-COVID policy was cancelled, and wealthy people in Shanghai began to immigrate. This 35-year-old woman from Shanghai, Miss Claudia Ke, is one of many who decided to leave China after the lockdown was lifted. By August 2023, Miss Ke had already spent 5 months in Burgundy wine region of France. She had previously worked for Vogue in Beijing, then at Macy's in Shanghai, and finally tried to establish her own consulting company. Starting in April 2022, Miss Ke's neighborhood was locked down for over 2 months, ending only on June 22nd of that year. She described it as, quote, a hellish experience. At that time, the social and political atmosphere became tense and suffocating. Miss Ke lived alone, but she had to carefully calculate and plan how much food to eat each day. The prolonged lockdown made her consider immigration, a thought she had never had before. When Shanghai lifted the lockdown, Miss Ke said, I took 10 days to think about whether to leave. I deeply love Shanghai, but reality hit me hard. I had to leave. A month later, she began submitting applications to schools across Europe. Eventually, she was admitted to the Burgundy School of Business in France as an MBA student. In the summer of 2023, before heading to France, she sold her consulting company. For wealthy individuals with abundant resources, immigration might not be difficult. However, for those in the middle class who have jobs, property, family, friends, and networks in China, immigration is a major decision, and the costs involved can be substantial. Mr. Exil, who works in Shanghai, has many reasons for choosing to immigrate. Dissatisfaction with local life, a desire to gain more experience abroad, and the harsh reality of severe age discrimination in the workplace, which has stunted his career progression. This year, Yexil, who is 34 years old, works in software development, where age discrimination has always been a big issue. There is always a saying in the industry about the, quote, 35-year-old curse, which is a term referring to career challenges faced at age 35 due to age discrimination. Due to the long hours of overtime, older employees are often seen as unable to keep up with the intense workload and are thus the first to be laid off. Exil also noticed that in this technical field, the divide between China and the international system is extremely deep, with China being an entirely separate system that is increasingly decoupled from the world. He bluntly said, "I don't want to waste my life on things that are just reinventing the wheel." He began preparing for immigration last year. After gathering a lot of information and consulting with professionals, he summarized three main paths for middle class immigration from China. The first is definitely studying abroad, applying for undergraduate or graduate programs in Europe or the US, then finding a job after graduation, and eventually transitioning to immigration. The second option is work visas. In technical fields, especially in Europe and Japan, there are many opportunities for work visa immigration. The third is hiring agencies to package investment or work visa immigration. This is a common option for those not in high-end industries and willing to spend hundreds of thousands on immigration. Additionally, the political pressure made Exil want to escape. He frequently bypassed the firewall and was once summoned by the police for reposting domestic news on X. His child received what he calls brainwashing and hate education in kindergarten, and this highly limited environment for political and public opinion further strengthened his resolve to immigrate. Mr. G, a resident of Shanghai, said that on various WeChat groups, Moments, Weibo, and other social platforms in Shanghai these days, everyone is prevalently discussing how to leave the country. Anyone who can still move and has some economic ability wants to leave, even if they have property or visas in Shanghai. They still want to go. Even entrepreneurs doing business in Shanghai want to leave. Mr. G lamented, "This city has nothing but a shell now. It has lost its soul. People will definitely leave Shanghai in desperation, even if they go abroad to do washing dishes jobs. They still don't want to stay, because the city has neither freedom nor dignity. Everyone is treated like animals, so they want to escape." Meanwhile, as many of them say, the people of Shanghai are quoted mentally exhausted. One native Shanghainese put it this way: "The government keeps spinning China into circles until people, like cars going round and round, eventually have their engines stall and their wheels locked up." Shanghai, an international metropolis, once attracted countless young people eager to make their mark. A Shanghai residency was something many dreamed of. Unlike regions like Guangdong, Fujian, and Zhejiang, which have a long history of immigration, the waves of people leaving Shanghai have mostly occurred during the significant historical events. In quieter times, without major events, Shanghai residents were reluctant to leave. As the former financial center of the Far East, Shanghai had more overseas connections. So, it was only during important historical moments or when they felt uneasy or in danger that Shanghainese considered leaving the country. The first two waves of immigration from Shanghai occurred in the 1940s and 1980s. During the War of Resistance, after Shanghai fell to the Japanese, many wealthy and famous individuals fled to Hong Kong. After the victory in the war, most of them returned to Shanghai. But after the Communist Party took over, another group of people fled to Hong Kong or used it as a transit point to immigrate to various parts of the world. It wasn't until the early 1980s, when China began its reform and opening up to the world, that Shanghai saw another wave of people eager to study abroad or immigrate. At that time, Japan became a dream destination for many Shanghainese looking to get rich. Many people quit their jobs and joined the wave of those crossing the seas in search of better opportunities. Back then, wages in Japan were more than 10 times higher than in similar jobs in China. With just a high school diploma and acceptance into a language school in Japan, one could go to Japan and within 6 months to a year start sending large sums of money back home. This promise of prosperity was highly tempting. Compared to the previous two waves of immigration, today's Shanghainese are choosing different destinations: Canada, Australia, and the United States. Traditional immigration countries remain top choices due to their clear advantages in residency. The United Arab Emirates is also gaining popularity, offering zero income tax, a luxurious lifestyle, and the so-called golden visas, which make moving investment fund easy and discreet. Some people are also considering countries closer to China like Japan, Singapore, and Malaysia, which are convenient for travel and have large Chinese communities, making communication easier. Others are immigrating just to obtain residency without wanting to expend too much effort. As a result, European property-based immigration programs are very popular. Countries like Malta, Greece, Turkey, and Spain are top choices. The number of wealthy Chinese emigrating now has surged again, pushing China from third place to first globally, surpassing Russia and India. Statistics show that over 60% of wealthy Chinese plan to immigrate, and among those with assets exceeding 100 million yuan, up to 73% express a desire to leave. In the past 2 years, nearly 25,000 wealthy individuals have fled China. According to the latest Wealth Migration Report in 2024, released by British consultancy Helleny and Partners, reported 15,200 Chinese millionaires are expected to leave in 2024. The real wave of immigration among the wealthy has now begun. As expected, the reason for these wealthy individuals choosing to immigrate may vary. However, most of them mention the uncertainties hidden in the current economic situation under the Chinese Communist Party's rule, which have significantly fueled doubts and future investment returns. When discussing the phenomenon of wealthy Chinese leaving in large numbers, Zhao Xiaohui, convener of Taiwan's financial forum, The Truth Talker, explained in an interview with overseas media on August 7 that there are four main reasons for this exodus. First, they are preparing for a possible trade war between China and the United States, where the US might impose tariffs of up to 100% on Chinese products imported into the US. To avoid high tariffs, some wealthy individuals who own companies or factories in China are moving their operations out of the country. Second, the Chinese Communist Party's, quote, shared prosperity policy has increased control over society, especially over the wealthy, prompting them to take their funds and flee. Third, there is no hope for China's economy, and there is no money to be made in Chinese society as a whole. Fourth, much of China's wealth over the past 20 years has come from rising real estate prices. However, with the current collapse of China's real estate market, prices have been steadily falling with no end in sight. Zhao Xiaohui stated, if prices continue to drop, the value of their real estate holdings will be wiped out, leaving them with no money to take out of the country. So those who can leave early are doing so in a hurry. In addition to the mass immigration of the wealthy, the middle class, struggling with career progression under political pressure, is also accelerating their escape from China. Zhao Xiaohui pointed out that China's middle class, particularly those in the technology and internet industries, has a significant advantage. However, this industry is known for the so-called 35-year-old curse. Because long hours of overtime have become the norm, older employees find it hard to keep up with the intense work demands and often become the targets for layoffs. And this has forced them to vote with their feet and leave China.